2026 is going to be the single biggest year of change in the history of marketing agency. Not because ads are changing, not because platforms are changing, not even because AI is changing everything, which it is, but because the entire structure of what an agency is and how it delivers value is evolving at a crazy fast pace. And if you run a marketing agency, consult clients, or sell marketing services, the next 12 to 24 months will either be the moment where you scale so fast it feels illegal, or the moment where you get left behind by people that understand what's actually happening. So today I'm going to walk you through the agency model and how it's evolved over the last 20 years, because we need to understand where it was in order to understand where it's going, and so that we can win, because these things are cyclical. It's just going to be cyclical, but with AI sprinkled on top. So we're going to figure out where the industry is going next and how to position you in your agencies to grow faster in 2026, faster than you ever thought possible. Let's get into it. And by the way, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Nick, and fair warning, this channel is frankly not for everyone. What we talk about here is building agencies that consistently scale to 7 and 8 figures, and I've built, bought, and sold 7 agencies myself, and now I help grow 30 plus agencies that are currently my clients, doing over $100 million in revenue per year combined. So this content is really for agency owners in the game, not people that are still trying to figure out, should I start an agency? What is my offer? All this stuff. And no, watching this channel isn't going to make you magically rich. I make no claims as to you making money off of the stuff that I'm telling you right now, because these things are hard to do. And if they weren't hard to do, everybody would already be doing them. And I don't even know if you yourself could pull them off, because I don't know who you are. I'm simply sharing what I've done and what my clients have done right now to hit 100K, 200K, or even 400K profit months. And here's the thing, most agencies never make it past 50K a month in revenue. These are just real lessons from real people actually doing these numbers. And I'm sharing it with you so you don't waste time learning it the hard way. And if that's you, let's get into it. So look, if you look at this chart, you're going to see something really important. Every 3 to 5 years, the agency game fundamentally changes, and we're just going through a new one, and it's kind of speeding up. Every time it changes, the agencies who stay attached to the old model are just going to die out. And while the ones who understand the shift now grow at insane speed. Why? Because they're consuming the agencies that don't pivot. So really, the first iteration was the traditional agency model. So in the early 2000s, we're talking about the traditional agency model. So they have traditional means to acquire customers. A lot of this was in-person field sales, like just like knocking on doors, and at events and like things like this. So it was all done really in person, really relationship focused, heavily focused on strategy and relationships, because strategy was the whole thing. Why? Because it was hard to pivot tactics really fast. So it was all about strategy, because remember, this is like a pre-digital age. Like, people weren't really doing digital marketing at this point. And in 2025, this is where the full service agency model really came into play, like in terms of adding digital. And a lot of these agencies weren't just digital, they were just doing partly digital. They were still heavily focused on like creative, offline types of advertising, because those things worked back then. So they still had this like heavy emphasis on strategy, but they moved more towards tactic. Now, this remained the same for a really, really, really long time, okay? And this is where I think in 2022, like after, certain events happened in 2020, we really pivoted into this like niche agency retainer model. So it was very digital, and it didn't matter where you were, where your clients were, right? Because people were now more used to working with people that weren't maybe in their own state. To give you an idea of like what I mean by this is that somewhere between 2018 and 2025, what happened is that before, only 20% of agencies were niched into some sort of specialty. Today, that number's 80%. So it's 80-20 one way, and now it's 80-20 the other way, which is crazy. And it's because people are more willing than ever before to work with people that aren't sitting directly across from them, or at least directly sitting across from them once per month, because that's exactly what you used to do before. You used to commute and all this stuff. And the thing is that strategy still mattered here, except that it was pre-baked in, because you knew the niche, you knew the service inside and backwards so well that the strategy was pre-baked in, and you're beginning to see like really certain types of patterns of certain types of delivery. This really gave rise to being more productized. So like, people were productized prior to this, 2022, but it just wasn't that common. And the people that were doing it pretty badly, meaning like they were packaging their services and they were actually losing money on the equation. So like, you're actually supposed to make more money by productizing, not like less. and really the key measure here is dollars per hour. So 2023, this is where, the digital product agency became more of like this like community model. Content creators as primary means to acquire customers. So like this is this rise of content. And when the majority of agencies that were winning were producing a lot of content, like whether that was lead magnets or content on social media or blog posts. And what they were doing is that they were selling specific results to a specific market. And they were value-based pricing everything, which fundamentally means more dollars per hour and not just selling hours like the older agency models. Before it was just like, hey, these things sort of take like this many hours, let's slap a price tag on it, whatever. Now here you're getting into something like so niche that maybe you only take 10 hours to do something, but you're going to bill people $5K a month for it. So in 2024 is where I started seeing a lot of hybrid agencies, okay? And what a hybrid agency is that they have their regular done-for-you agency service, but they started combining it with coaching, which is done-with-you services. So you can call this done with you, you can call it consulting, you can call it whatever you want. What it really is that you're selling your expertise and not actually doing the majority of the work for your clients. You're doing some of it with your client. So content is still the primary means to acquire customers in this model. Knowledge built through content and used for internal and external training. This means that when you do like an external piece of content, you can basically reshoot the exact same thing, but internally for your own agency to teach other people how to do it. So you're really just like almost creating like training library internal and then pointing it external with a little bit of like marketing, tweaks and like bang, like this is your advertising because you're advertising to other people that are marketers that want to know this stuff too, right? Giving coaching on top of this or consulting made things more affordable. So maybe a done for you offer might have been like 7K, 8K a month for like this really high end service, or they could buy coaching and consulting for like say 3K. So it became more affordable, but more dollar per hour. Really why this was born, it wasn't just people doing done for you coming down and doing done with you. It was also the fact that there was like a lot of DIY offers, meaning like, hey, like take this course and like apply this thing. People were trying to plug in the failure rate of like these DIY courses by offering done with you consulting. So it's like, hey, not only do you watch the videos, but I'm going to show you how to apply this step by step by step. And so ours in this model became fully scalable because we had the possibility of like moving away from like just billing like hours one-to-one in the done for you model. Done for you, we're productizing that. And then if people want the coaching hours from our most senior expert, we're billing crazy numbers. We're billing $500 an hour or even $1,000 an hour to talk to our digital director internally. And the other thing that this model enabled is to address more of the total addressable market, the TAM. Because think about it, not every single client is willing to hire an agency because there's some chief financial officers out there that will not want to hire an agency. They're like, no, build it internal. In the long run, it's cheaper, you get more work, and they're kind of right. And so these offers start coming out like with a done with you consulting where you could help people like create their own teams internal or help the internal teams, tune them up and educate them better through this consulting offer. So now you go from, a total addressable market of just the type of client that you're trying to get that is only willing to hire agencies. Now you can go to those guys and the people that are not willing to hire agencies at the same time. So your total addressable market increases very, very quickly in this kind of coaching consulting model along with the done for you regular agency stuff. And this leads us really to 2026, where I think that this is what's going to happen. We're going to have very specific knowledge coaching types of agencies that also do done for you for like the people that want it. But really it's the AI model. And what happens here is that content creation is still going to be the primary means to acquire people because it's going to become the only moat. It's like, how does this person think differently? But ultimately, it's how we do things that matters, that gets us better results than everybody else. Because remember, if AI can do something, it's not worth anything to the general market anymore. Why? Because think about it. If I can go into a computer and just type in, how do I do this? And it tells me step by step what to do, or the AI even does it for me. The only thing that's actually worth anything from a different human being is what they can do on top of what the AI already knows how to do. And that is the only thing that actually holds economic value. What agencies are ultimately going to have to do in the mid to long run here is build up their own data center of basically like proprietary knowledge that they have that is super niche specific, and then train an AI themselves on that, because that's the only thing that will become valuable over time. The strategic insights that you're generating today, you need to actually harness them from all the meetings that you're currently doing across all agency done with you, like consulting, and done for you. So you're harvesting all of this data that you're putting out constantly. And then you leverage this through like these like small language models, not large language models, small language models that pertain to like the niche that you work with. And then this was what gives you a competitive position over like ChatGPT or Claude or like whatever else you want to use, because you have more specific knowledge, meaning like the knowledge that nobody else can access because you haven't fed it into the general AI, you're feeding into your own AI that you own. And this is the important thing. If Claude or ChatGPT can do it, it's not worth anything anymore. So if it's not worth anything anymore, nobody's willing to pay for it. So like, what do? We create our own. We create our own small language model that solves very specific problems for very specific part of a market, and we be the best at it, meaning we have an advantage over the general AI that's already out there. And so this is the AI driven model for agencies. How do you capitalize on this? Start recording everything. Start recording client meetings, internal meetings, what the inputs look like, what the outputs look like. And you need to develop that data warehousing right now, like meaning just like straight up folders, really. And then as AI gets better and better, we're going to be able to feed all of that into an AI that doesn't have links to the outside world, because otherwise it's going to leak out. We then create a small language model that our agency owns that can actually do the type of work that we do that is better than the other general AI work that other large language models are already producing. So what is that you need to succeed in 2026 and beyond? In my personal opinion, your personal brand is your number one acquisition machine moving forward. Your knowledge is the differentiation between you and your competitor, and your systems become the moat. And those systems have to have this data capture built in, because then this is going to give rise to the multiplier, which is the AI that you're going to have to make either in 2026 or early 2027, because this thing's coming fast. And when you put all of this together, 2026 becomes the most scalable year of your life, because if you can generate this model to produce the work that you currently do that is already better than other people, that other AI cannot do itself, this is where you're going to scale really, really fast. So you need that data warehousing built in really well into your systems, and you have to record absolutely everything. So look, this is the moment to strap in, because this is the moment in time where small, fast, and systemized agencies are going to become really fast, and they're going to outperform big, slow legacy agencies, because the leverage has finally shifted to the operators that actually understand this game that we're getting into. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.